Was talking about this offense needing to get their confidence back. How do you go about that in a week where you're trying to prepare for a rival? Or how would you go about it?
I feel like as a four-year player, I've been put in a situation where, we've had a couple of games here and there where we've kind of just seems like we went off the reservation and had to get back really quick. Especially like a week like this. The best way to get back your confidence, I think, is to get out there and just go to work and to prepare. I think obviously it's pretty obvious to everybody. We play a good South Carolina team this week, and very good defense. It doesn't get any easier from here. That's very obvious. But I think to get back into kind of where we were is just to kind of you find the problem. And I think our problem is, like Coach Morris said, we don't have confidence. We hadn't played with confidence. We hadn't been the same team that we have where we were the first 8 weeks. And whatever we got to do to find that, this week is what we're going to be doing.
Do you think guys maybe got overconfident with the start, or you think that was a factor?
I wish I could sit here and tell you that there was a reason why what happened. You could. There's so many turnovers. Poor offensive line play. We could go on and on and on. But the biggest reason is what we just talked about. It's just playing at a confident level and playing at a level where because if you're playing Clemson football, we're not going to play with mistakes. And we've done it all year. 8 games in a row we went and we were winning the turnover margin. And that's the biggest thing in the last couple of weeks. We haven't been winning the turnover margin. And we were lucky to make it out at Wake Forest with a couple of turnovers, and to turn the ball over like we did Saturday, we couldn't recover from it.
How much have you gotten to see Carolina just watching them on TV this year?
I hadn't seen a lot, but I watched a little bit yesterday after I watched our game from Saturday. I got to see them a little bit against Vandy, and the same old Carolina defense. They're very athletic. I think we're both loaded with talent. I think that's the biggest thing we have in common. And that game's going to come down to who wants it more. And obviously Saturday we weren't the team that wanted it more, so hopefully we can get that thing together. For this Saturday.
Do you think they'll bring the most edge pressure of any, or have the biggest issue for pass blocking on the edge?
I don't think so. I think the biggest trouble we had Saturday, and there's no excuses in what happened, but the biggest trouble we had was NC State lines up, quick type linebackers on the edge, and they're harder to block than a defensive end who's 6'4", 260, and has you can put your hands on versus a guy who's 6'1", 240. You can't really 225, 230. You can't really touch, but. I think they offer the same kind of defense we played most of the season. When we played Auburn, when we played Virginia Tech, the big defensive ends that we're used to seeing. And I think we got a huge opportunity to be successful against that.
When you watch film, is there one thing you can point to that can fix the short yardage woes, or is it just a matter of toughness? Or what?
They can fix a what?
The short yardage woes, the 3rd and 1s.
Yeah, it's one guy here and there. I think we had a few problems with it last year. We have 10 guys doing their job, and there's one guy not doing their job, or there's 8 not. There's 3 guys maybe not doing their job. It's getting everybody to do their job. It's not toughness. It's not none of that, but it is playing together. And we haven't been doing that the last couple of games. We skated by Wake Forest, but we did not play together. We have to have all 11 guys on the field doing their job, whether that's me or whether it's Antoine, Dwayne, whoever it may be. We all have to play together, and we all have to kind of play for each other as a more thing.
Why is this an issue after 11 weeks? I would think that those are things you would run into earlier.
Yeah. I just think we had some success early on, and I feel like we were doing the right things 8 weeks in a row. But sometimes I think a team can develop a sense of comfort level and a sense of, we can just show up, and the logo on our helmet's going to beat the team versus whether we don't have to play as hard. We're just going to show up and intimidate them, and I don't know if that was the team's mentality, but I think you can just tell that obviously we weren't playing the same, and I don't know if that's how the mentality is. I'm just sitting here throwing things in the air. I really don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think that we're not obviously we're not showing up with the same mentality we were the first 8 weeks, and we got to fix that.
Coach Morris described it as kind of an offensive tailspin, that it's going this way, and you need somebody to just pull back on it and get the, as he says, get the nose up and get it going.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's finding somebody to give you a spark.
Yeah. you know, obviously the biggest problem Saturday was we did not have momentum. We were out with momentum. Now they held the momentum the entire game. We didn't have a single thing go our way to give us any kind of spark, any kind of momentum. And people are going to say, well, that's because you didn't have Sammy Watkins. Well, that's because of blah, blah, blah. Well, that comes down to somebody's got to make a play. And somebody's got to say, hey, that's enough. Let's go. Let's do this. And, you know, we never could seem like we could get anything going. Turning the ball over 3 times right there inside the 20-yard line, giving them those touchdowns. You know, I just think we gave them the game. And anybody that thinks otherwise needs to go back and watch the film, because, I mean, it's if you give our offense the ball inside the 20 3 times, I would predict we would score 3 out of 3 times. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
You're a North Carolina guy, but you've been here 4 or 5 years now. What does this South Carolina rivalry mean to you, especially after losing the last couple of years to them?
It means a whole lot more than it did when I was a freshman. You know, I came in here and really didn't understand the rivalry, so to speak. And, you know, a lot of guys on the team aren't from South Carolina and hadn't been around it their whole life. You know, I'm from North Carolina, where the rivalry I grew up around was the Duke-North Carolina rivalry, and that's more of a basketball rivalry. But, you know, I think after the last couple of years, after them beating us like they have the last couple of years, you know, the way we went out has really developed that mentality in my mind. And really, you know, I think that's how you understand the rivalry is when you get into games and you see how people react when they win, and then just you start to discover the whole experience.
You get a sense from fans as well, people coming up to you and saying you better beat those guys, especially after the last couple of years, because that hasn't happened very often.
Well, fans are irrelevant. That doesn't matter. I don't care, you know, what they say about all you do is beat South Carolina and blah, blah, blah. That's not important to us. I think we're trying to win games right now. We're trying to get back in the same mode we were when we were winning 8 games. And whatever we have to do as a team to do that, I don't care if it's South Carolina, I don't care if it's Auburn again, I don't care who we're playing. We got to win a game and carry some momentum in the ACC championship.
Why will this week be different? Because, you know, Chad Morris said even leading up to the game last week, you saw what happened with Oklahoma State. Coaches talked about matching energy levels.
Yeah.
Why is this week going to be different?
You know, I don't know. It has to be different. I think that's the biggest thing. But you know, I think after what we've seen happen the last, especially Saturday, you know, we got to change something. We got to reach down inside. We got to do some soul searching and find whatever it is that we've been missing. And you know, I think the leaders on this team is you know, more important than ever this week. And I think every week, you know, the leaders obviously do a great job of carrying us into the game, but we have to do a good job of taking this offense by, you know, this me and Dwayne and Dalton and Antoine and whoever else, you know, wants to jump on the wagon. You know, we got to do whatever we have to do.
Yeah, I know you kind of touched on this, but Chad also talked about, you know, first 8 weeks there's this us against the world mentality, a lot of guys playing for jobs, that sort of thing, and then he felt maybe the players kind of felt like, hey, we arrived, that sort of thing. Yeah,
it's a sense of that. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think that NC State Saturday night, it's pretty obvious. NC State wants a bowl game, and they came out Saturday night, and I think a lot of people are saying NC State played above their head. Well, I think we played, you know, well below our heads, and they played about where they're supposed to play. I expected them to play. You know, we can't do what we did Saturday and expect to win a ball game. It's just frustrating. But like you said, you know, first 8 games we were playing just to kind of shock the world, as we all were talking about, and trying to prove everybody wrong. And the last couple, you know, especially Saturday, everybody's talking about we had nothing to play for. Well, that's what it looked like on the field. It looked like we were not playing for anything. But I think the mentality was supposed to be, you know, 10 games and that kind of thing. But we got to get it together.
In retrospect, the mentality of nothing to play for, when you look at the events of the weekend, I would think Sunday you come in here and you're even more angry and more frustrated because you could have thrust yourself back into that conversation with the win on Saturday.
Yeah. You know, things happen for a reason. Obviously, you know that the game, obviously, after the outcome, you know, and seeing all these other teams go down and saying, oh, well, you know, if we were one, look what would have happened. But, you know, obviously, I don't think this team, I think we have a good team that can win an ACC championship, but we're not mature enough to win a national championship. And that's going to come here at Clemson. You know, I won't be here, obviously, but when that comes, it'll be the right time. But I think, we got to win the ACC championship, and to do that, we got to beat South Carolina and to take the momentum into that game.
I know the national championship is not one of the goals on the list. Do you feel like that should be one of the goals?
Well, the goals take care of that, as in win the ACC championship and win the bowl. If you take care of all the goals, I think that you're having a great season. And I think if you can win all, and we were on track to complete the goals and go above and beyond. And sometimes it doesn't go your way, but no, I don't think winning a national championship should be at the bottom of the goal. I think in due time it'll become a goal here, and it is a goal. And win the bowl game could be the national championship. So in theory, it really is a goal. That's not really, technically not. I don't really know how to say it, but it is, but it isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
When Coach Morris says he thinks that this team needs a spark this week, like they had in the first couple of weeks, do you think he means somebody breaking a big play on Saturday, or maybe somebody tearing up a hotel room in a fit before the game? Well,
I don't think we need that, but I do think we need to. Yeah, I think we need to play. We need playmakers, and we haven't had that. Saturday we didn't have guys, and obviously that falls back, and I take full responsibility. The offensive line, we didn't hold the guys off of Todd long enough to give him time to make plays. To make big plays, you got to be protected, and he wasn't protected well enough Saturday to make big plays to get a spark. So that comes back from where the offense really starts, is the offensive line, and we didn't play well enough Saturday to allow plays to be made. And to have a playmaker to be valuable, you got to be able to let the quarterback throw the ball to him. I mean, that's where it starts. And as an offensive lineman, I think we got to get that right this week. Obviously we haven't. Saturday was not, how I like to look at us. I don't think we played anywhere near where we're, what we're capable of playing.
Do you have a sense, when you're on the right side, do you have a sense of what's going on the left, why things broke down on the left side during the game, or is it just something you have to go back and look
Well,
at?
I mean, the biggest thing is you got, we had, obviously, David was out there for most of the second half, David Smith, and playing left tackle, and he's never really played left tackle his whole career. And to put him out there in that type of environment and say, hold these guys off, and they had really good pass rushers, is almost unfair, but at the same time, somebody's got to do it. So, I think we were put in a situation where guys had to step up and do things obviously they hadn't done before. And, it's tough on the offensive line, but we got to be able to do anything we're asked to do. And, I don't think, we thought that we were going to end up with 2 out of the 5 starters in the game in the fourth quarter when we started the game. But that's what happens sometimes, and sometimes you got to play without guys you don't necessarily have. And I think we just got to get guys healthy and get more prepared for this week than we've ever have been.
Your hamstring okay?
Hold on, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Well, okay, go ahead and
That's
answer
good.
that.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just tweaked it a little bit, and hopefully I can get back out and practice.
All right, I want to get some